Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be taking a look through tidying up and cleaning my collection of vintage Collins White Circle Services editions. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay, so we're starting off with this one, which is Sad Cypress. Now this is Services Edition C202. Now this is one of the ones which these early ones were in, some of them were marked on the spine and some of them aren't, and apparently the first printings aren't marked, and I think that's what this one is, because the number will be just under the Christie there. So I believe this is the first Services Edition. Yes, it says first published 1940, Services Edition 1943. So this is a very, very scarce wartime Services Edition, and as you know, I'm a real fan of them. This one is super fragile. In fact, it's probably the worst condition one that I've actually got today, I think. So there's not a great deal I can actually do with that one at all. There's no pricing or anything like that to come out. It's just a very rare survivor. Next we got this one then. So this is marked 204, C204. And this one is evidently a reprint because it was surplus stock sold through W.H. Smith's. So if we have a look inside, I'm imagining it will say it's a reprint of the Services Edition. Well, it says Services Edition 1945, first published 1943. But I suspect that that is just a reprint, but still a Services Edition, and that's really all I'm worried about. I mean, the Services Editions themselves are so very, very scarce. And I'm more than happy just to have one of each book. I don't care if it's a reprint or not. That's just my philosophy with these, because they are so very, very scarce. I've been chatting away with Al from the Vintage Paperbacks website, and he was probably the UK's most foremost expert on Services Editions, and he's recently donated his collection of Services Editions to the Imperial War Museum in London, because they didn't have any at all, and they are up for taking ones that they're missing as well, but I'm a little reluctant to get rid of any of mine, even if they're ones that aren't in that particular collection, at least at the moment. So this is a Cerise one. So this was a separate series, it wasn't crime. Obviously White Circle did westerns, they did these Cerise ones, which are like thrillers, they call them, really, or mystery here. This is number 206. It is on the spine here. And I'm going to check the printing history of all of these as we go along. Services Edition 1945. They did some brown ones. Really across all their different series, there are Services Editions of them. Quite a few. Peter Cheney, he was a popular author. So this is, I suspect, because this hasn't got a number, but Dangerous Curves is in the listing here. So Al sent me the list, and he has got Dangerous Curves as C207, but because this is an unnumbered one, I assume that this is a first printing of this one. Let's look at that. That came out of the book cupboard in Plymouth. C207, there we are, look. C207. First published 1943. There we are. I myself have had many books out of the book cupboard in Plymouth over the years. Certainly when he opened, his penguin section was absolutely amazing, and I picked up dozens and dozens of early penguins and rare penguins. 3 for a fiver, won't forget that in a hurry. 208 here, Heads You Live. Now what I'll do, I'll wait until we've got a little pile, and then I'm going to give them the brush down. Obviously no polishing here. So this is 1945, so once again this is probably a reprint there, but you know. And our first Western, 215. This is Gary Marshall, Desperados of Diablo. And you'll see a lot of these have got surplus stock sold on to W.H. Smith's, which is how quite a few of these Collins books have actually survived. There we are, first published in 1942, the Services Edition 1945. Now I haven't got round to cleaning my my main Collins White Circle yet, since I've recently picked up a load. I thought I'd do these Services Editions first. Here's an author I've been looking into quite a bit lately, is John Rode, and he was very, very prolific. This is C217, Murder at Lilac Cottage. (1946), this one. It's very difficult to sort of price up these Services Editions with regards to value, because some people might be collecting them for the author, others for the title, others because they're Services Editions. It's not an exact science, shall we say. So here's a second Christie, The Moving Finger, C219. So I think from this point, all of them have got numbers on the spines. I think it was just the first 16 that didn't. This is 1946, first published 1943. Very nice. I think I'm only missing one Christie in Services Edition now, which is cool. Get Out the Cuffs, C223. Get Out the Cuffs, eh? And it may be that all the rest of these are 1946, but we'll see. Oh, this is first edition, first published 1943, Services Edition 1943. I don't know. This is why I'm just going to make a record of it as we go along, because sometimes it just doesn't quite make sense. And that is what the White Circle books, they're sort of famous for, in that they're really, really difficult to decipher which printings are which. They just are. Even when you've got a big run of them, they can be just not what you would expect, you know. Now, as I film this one, I've just had my second trip back from Eric Gadd's with book dealer Morris Flanagan from All You Need Is Books. We had a great time, picked up some really good stuff there. Only picked up a few more bits and pieces. This is 227, 6 Feet of Dynamite. But yeah, I picked up a few more bits and pieces, which I was happy about, and I was able, most importantly, to be able to film the process, because it's really good to have a record of that particular collection. And we were able to film everything bar the penguins, which had been previously bought by another dealer. So this is 1945. See, they are a little bit all over the place, aren't they, these? It's weird. Back to a crime one now. Priority Murder, Leslie Ford, 229. I got to admit, these Collins crime books are absolutely gorgeous. I really love them. I've certainly fallen in love with them a lot more, these White Circle books, in the last few years, since I picked up a few. What I'm most short of are the Cerise ones, and there's a load of tail-end romance ones, which I've not really bothered with either. 1945 for this one. But the crime ones, I would really like to lick that series if I could. And I don't think, time I pull my list together, I don't think I'm going to be that short, in all honesty, of having most of them in first print. Knife in the Dark, C231. This one's a little more worn. A couple of turned over corners here. But I think to do all the Collins books, I'm going to mix in some of these other publishers alongside my regular Penguin cleaning. And the Collins White Circle alone are probably going to be about 5 videos, of which this is the first one, of course. 1945 for that one. Yeah, a little bit beaten up, but it's okay. This is our first blue one. St. George or the Dragon, Lord Elton. Just simple services edition along there. (1943). So I suspect that's a first printing. And it may well be that the first printings of these white circles are actually much, much harder to find than perhaps was first realised, but who can tell? So there's not a lot of information on them. Al's got the best list out there, which he shared with me, so that's what I'm working against. But even in the main series, you know, there was Richard Williams, the noted bibliographer. He himself did lists of white circles. I don't think he included the services editions in there, though. Probably because he just didn't have enough information to go on, even from all the noted collectors that were referenced in that initial guide, you know. Immortal Sergeant John Brophy. And this is much more similar to a regular white circle of the period. It doesn't look like, 1944, doesn't look like that's come out under wartime conditions. Beautiful copy of that one. Very, very pleased with that. This is nice. This is one that's been bound, or rebound, I should say. Fisherman at War. Looks like Army Welfare stamp on that one. I love this sort of stuff. I know it's a rebind, so it's not as issued, but it's still lovely. C239. We knew that. Yeah, I don't mind rebound books. It's just a reflection of what was happening at the time, isn't it? See if we can get any printing history. Services edition, 1943. The Mouse Who Wouldn't Play Ball. Some pencil inside there, and the inside back cover. C247. Gift of the British Red Cross Society and Order of St. John's Hospital. Now, I've got the list next to me because the actual number is a bit distorted. So it's saying C247. Mouse Wouldn't Play Ball. Yep, that's it. So that is correct. See, just a tiny little bit of the number is missing there. So I'm going to take out what I can, because we've confirmed it's number 247. So we don't need to keep that number in there. And there's like a 20 or 25p or something like that in there, which was probably when Eric picked his copy up. Now, I don't think we can do much with this. It looks like it's in ink, but we'll give it a try. What is actually coming off? Not very well, but it's a little bit better than what it was. Now, there was quite a bit on the inside back cover, wasn't there? And what we need is another book to rest this one on. So we've got a nice firm surface to get this pencil out, because none of this is relevant to the book. It's just been put on afterwards. So I'm doing a bit of maths or a puzzle or something like that, which was all well and good at the time. But as a collector, you don't want this sort of thing on it. You want contemporary stamps, but not contemporary doodling, unless there was something particularly good about it. And in this particular case, there isn't. There we are. So I think that's that one as good as we're going to get it, I'm afraid. Nice though, gift of the British Red Cross Society and Order of St. John Hospital Library. Love it. Okay, Murder MD, Miles Burton. It's got a later Smith stamp on, label rather. 1946, this one. It says first Smith's edition, 1946, £2.50. We got quite rough weather down here by the coast where I live, and when that happens the seagulls tend to come inland, which is why you can hear them in the background going for it. Victory Song, Herbert Adams. Oh, some more penciling at the back there. Now, as well as these Collins books, I have brought just a tiny handful of a few other bits and pieces that I picked up the day before at Eric's, that I also wanted to get cleaned up. So I've got 4 Hodder and Stoughton Services editions. The main run, probably the full set, Morris picked up last time. I didn't actually get those. I couldn't get it all, and I didn't get those, but I did pick up 4 of Eric's, like rejects, and there was a couple of other sort of miscellaneous editions as well. I've got a couple of toucans to do, so I'd already cleaned my toucans, as you would have seen that video. One of the books was a reprint, and I went back to Eric's and found that there was a copy of the first, so I picked up the first printing. And also I picked up another Toucan Service edition, but one in hardback. It had been bound in hardback. So just like a variation more than anything else. Well, this pencil's been a little bit stubborn. Yes. Gotta admit, I'm not so fond of the new rubber that I'm using at the moment, compared to my last one, which was the Pental one. But the art shop I went into just didn't have one. They only had really miniature versions of it, and I was assured that this worked just as well, but it doesn't. It's not as good. So I think, as much as I like to support my local art shop, which I really do, and I love going into the art shops, just the smell of them is just incredible. I might have to go online because I'm not 100% happy with this one. Anyway, Victory Song. I think that one's now looking as good as we can get. Just check the date again. 1946. Cool. Okay. Right. Men Die at Cypress Lodge. John Road again. C251. Yep. A great deal we can do with that one. We've got 4 stacks, I should say, to do. And when we've done the first stack, I'm going to get brushing. C252, Deadly Secret. A little 4 on the front cover there. All the large 20p. Lovely. And printing on this one. I want to make sure I keep recording these on the video for when I do my bibliography. Services Edition 1944. The Man Who Loved Lions, Ethel Lena White, C253. Eastern Command Signals. Oh, these are fantastic, aren't they? Services 1946. A little bit grubby, but he'll do. Oh, blue one now. Rural Amateur, C262. Now that's going to need a little bit of glue in there, I think. Services Edition 1944. We haven't used the glue today. In fact, we haven't used it for ages, so let's hope it comes out. Yeah, there we are. We're straight into business. So the glue that I use is called Pin Flare Bookbinder's glue. And I always put a little little link to buying this one on Amazon should you wish to use it yourself. It's very good because the glue dries clear. It's about £8 a bottle, but the bottle lasts a long, long time. In actual fact, longer than Pritt Stick. So I do recommend this stuff. Yeah, Pin Flare. It's certainly proved very, very good for me. Small Back Room, Nigel Bolchin, C264. £1946 for this one as a services edition. Little 15p down the bottom here. Okay. Right, just a few more in this pile. Under Which King, C265. Another one, just a tiny slither of glue in the top here where it's coming away. Do wonders to keep that together. Okay. Right, Jordan's Tuner's Diary. Not heard of this one. C267. Oh, look at this, look. It's completely come away. Happens now and again. The glue sort of just dries out over the decades, and we Have to just re-glue it back in place. Let's check the rest of the book. Services 1944. Get a nice wedge of glue along here. Then I'll put some in here as well. That's good. Right, let's slide these two together. Yeah, that's the first one which we've had where the entire spine has come away. But I think it's just the glue getting old. More than anything. Village at War, Anthony Armstrong, C268. The blue one. Illustrated this one. 1944, Services Edition. That's absolutely fine. And the last one from this first stack of 4 is English Story, 3rd series. Bit of glue required in there in a minute. M17. Yeah, just where it's come away here. A fairly easy fix. Okay. Right, now that is the first stack. So we'll put that into a couple of piles like so. And what I'd like to do is just give these a bit of a brush. So I get a little wedge, make sure the edges are level, and just brush off loads and loads of dust. It's always the top edges that's the worst, of course, but it does make a huge difference. You can probably see the dust coming off these. These earliest ones particularly benefiting from it. Let's get another wedge. Yep, big improvement there. This odd one, because it's an odd shape, we'll just do on its own. Doing really well here. Cleaning these up. And last little batch. There we go, that's the first quarter done. Right, back onto the second stack now, and then we'll have a break and do some of those other couple of other bits and pieces that I brought in. So this is C272, all fall down, LAG strong. This is 1946. '11 came back, C273. Little 10p in there. What year was that? Yep, 1946. Okay. Green mask. J. Jefferson Farjan, C274. £1.50 inside. Service is 1946. Now, I did also already have a copy of this one. Looking a little bit the worse for wear, I think you'll agree. Not quite as good as the other one I've got there, but I'm going to debag this one because I'm checking all the dates as we go along as well. And ultimately I will rebag these. But this one's yeah, a little bit the worse for wear. But it is exactly the same edition of the same book. So that is just a double. So I will put that to one side, because he's a spare. Right, another Agatha Christie, Towards Zero, C275. It's again not the most perfect condition, but happy to just have a copy. 35p in there. This one's dated 1945. Yeah, lovely. First Western in a while. The Prospector of Signal Mountain, Gary Marshall. Oh, look, it's come away. So we'll need to re-glue that in a moment. Let's have a look through the actual book. (1944), but it does need to be re-glued. So we'll do that now. Here we are. Quite a thin little one, this, actually. Let's put a little bit on the spine of the actual book. A Wild West yarn. That's what it says. Yeah. There we are. That's got that looking as good as possible. Can't remember if we did check the date on this, but we'll do it again now. Yeah, C 1944 for that particular one. Right, C281 colour scheme, Najee Marsh. Very nice indeed. (1944) for that one. The Man Next Door, M.G. Eberhardt, C282. (1944) again. Death of a Saboteur, C283. This one's got the Smith stamp on. 1946. So that makes me think it's a reprint. But it's very, very difficult to tell with these services editions, and until more information is known, we just have to go with the flow. But that's why I'm recording all the dates and things like that, so we can have at least a bit of a bibliography, because I will pop all of these onto my own spreadsheet of what I've got. This is Noel Stratfield, famous for ballet shoes, of course. Very, very famous children's book. This is 1945. Okay. Passport to Paradise, 286. Very foxed, this one. Probably got damp at some point by the look of it. It's almost got a torn page at the front as well. 1945, but it is, it's a copy, and that's all that matters with these. Pointer to a Crime, A. Fielding, C287. Yeah, another one. I thought it was a bit loose. And we were right. So another one to re-glue. Let's check the printing history. Such it is on these. (1944). Okay. Right. Get some glue on the spine here. Bit rough, this spine. Still, that should be enough. Make sure we get the cover on the correct way round. I've done that before. Put the cover on the wrong way round. It felt like a right Charlie. And there we are, as good as we're going to get that. The first cerise one in a while, Richard Cavern, The Lady in Number 4. Another one. They're literally falling to bits in front of us. I didn't actually, on first reflection, I didn't realise that there was so many like this, but when I do the normal Collins White Circle, I bet you there'll be loads like this as well. The glue that they used just wasn't that good. This is 1945. Thankfully, the book itself is in really nice condition. It's just the glue is detached over the decades. Nice and square. Yep, that's nice. Later How, Doreen Wallace. 289, big thick book this one, for services edition especially. 1945. Here we go. Yeah. Don't even recognise it from the main run, but that's okay. Val Gilgood, Confident Morning. Royal Navy War Library stamp there. Very, very nice. I love it. 1945. Crime. C291. 4-ply yarn. Miles Burton. Quite grubby. $1945 again. Yeah, bit of a grubby one that, but it'll do. Alice Campbell, The Travelling Butcher, C293. Bottom of the spine missing there. In fact, look, come away. $1945. A re-glue required. Okay. There we go. Of course, I put glue on where they're not actually glue required, so I'm going to have to wipe that off. Quite a rough one, this, sadly. But it's better than not having a copy, and that's what I always think. Particularly with these service editions, which are so flipping scarce. You know, just to have a copy is enough, really. $1945. For The Travelling Butcher, Wolf in Man's Clothing. Signature of some sort on the front, but I'm not sure it's in pen or pencil. $1945. Quite a nice copy of this one. Yeah, $2.94. Right, Joanne at Littlefold, $2.95. Gift of the British Red Cross Society and Order of St. John Hospital Library. Tiny bit of glue required in there. There we go. That was 1945. Nice copy of that one. This one got something on the back. It's been splashed with something. Darkness Falls from the Air. 296. $1945 again. Absolutely fine, that one. This one's bagged up. This is one I had beforehand. Spearhead, John Brophy. $1946. Another copy there. Same book. Fairly similar condition. 1945. Did the other one say 1946? So let's just double check. So that's 1945. $1946. So definitely two different editions there. But the 45 one, this one is the earlier edition, so that's the one I'll keep. And I'll let the 46 edition go, because I don't need two of each. Right, same author again. Target Island, C298. We've seen that big V in a couple of these, haven't we? Wonder what it means. $1945. And the last one of this second pile, Nutmeg Tree, Marjorie Sharp, C299. $1945 again. Slither of glue required in there. And then we'll give this second pile a brush. And then I've got a few other, just a few non-Collins White Circle bits for us to clean up. Okay then. Right, so that's the second pile done. Now I've got some non-Collins stuff to look at. Okay, so I've got a little run of 4 Hodder and Stoughton Services editions, and I thought since I've only got so few, might as well include them in this video, since we're in the frenzy, as it were. And that's again, it's completely come to bits. That might help glue that bit back in. These aren't my sort of favourite ones. I'm not a massive Hodder and Stoughton fan. I'm not that fussed about the authors. And never really collected them like that. No, sort of, first printed in this form, March 1945. There's about a dozen of these Hodder and Stoughton Services editions to collect. I imagine Eric had the whole lot, and they were just picked up by Morris on the first visit. And these were in like the outer garage, so I imagine these were actually Eric's spares from the original 12. Because he probably was like me, he'd pick up any Services edition in any condition, just rather than leave it behind, you know. So anyway, we can re-glue this one. I mean, we have, after I've done this little lot, we have still got 2 more stacks to do, so it could end up a very, very long video. I could always split it into an extra part and we call it a day after we've done this, but I'll get these done first of all, and then we'll see how we're looking for time. It'd be quite nice to, because as I said, I've got loads more White Circle to clean up. A regular series, you know, not Services editions. And I did sort of want to get these licked today if possible, really, you know. I've got lots of other things happening. I'm preparing for the next book fair at Morris's All You Need Is Books, which is on Saturday the 8th of February. I suspect this may go out just before then, so do check that out. It's quite a nice copy of this one. It's a Western as well. It's really nice. It is a nice copy of that one. Epitaph for a Spy. I mean, I've heard of, obviously, Max Brown. Heard of Eric Ambler. (1944) it says, this one. Once again, also very, very nice. We've got just one more here. This one's fallen to bits. I don't think there's much we can do with this. It's there, but it's in a sorry old state, I think we could say. Seriously, I don't think there's anything we can do with that. Just have to pop it in a bag and hope for the best. This was a hardback Services edition. It's a toucan, 10p. So apparently a few of the ones that were part of the Hutchinson group, such as Hutchinson, Toucan and things like that, did actually get published in this edition, a bit more permanent hardback form. And this is one of the toucan ones, Mr. Emmanuel. So it's a curiosity more than anything else, but one I'm very, very pleased to have. And I've got another one very similar for us to look at later. And then this was one which I didn't have in a first print. I had a reprint of it. So when I went back, I saw that there was a run of duplicate toucans, and this book was in it. So I grabbed it. But the need my screwdriver. The bottom of the spine needs a bit of glue in there, but we can tactically do that, because this was actually on my list as one that I ended up getting as a reprint, and I wanted to get the first printing of it. The reprints are much harder to find. They're 1 and 6 as opposed to this, which would have been 6p, you know. So, but I thought you'd enjoy this little interlude in between the Collins White circles. There we are. Now these will also all need a brush, so I'm going to need to be quite careful because they're all different sizes, so I'll just do them sort of individually. Now, these ones are okay because they're fairly uniform in size, but the other one, the one that's fallen to bits, is not. Yeah, so this one, I don't know the best approach. Can't really do a lot to it. And we'll have to leave it at that. So, that's those done. Right, on to our third stack. Okay, so the 2 Mrs. Abbotts. This is number 300, C300. And this is the third of 4 stacks that we got to do today. And I've had a little look, and I think we can just about fit this one in. It's probably going to end up being a 2-hour video, but I know you don't mind the longer ones. And it's good to get the whole lot done in one foul swoop, because as I said, I've probably got another 4 Collins White Circle videos to do. The crime is going to be probably a couple more videos, and the westerns, and then all the miscellaneous stuff. 1945 for that one. Noel Stratfield again. I ordered a table for 6. I ordered a table for 6, don't you know? Very, very fragile, and that page is already torn, so I don't want to make it any worse. I'm going to leave that. Let's just check the printing date on this one, 1945. Tiny smidgen of glue just at the bottom of the spine. Just to get that in place. This is a duplicate. It's an English story, 4th series. All navy stamp inside, I love them. 1945. And then same one again, 302. I've got the Royal Navy stamp. Same edition though. There we are. So certainly this one is the better condition of the two. It hasn't got the Royal Navy stamp in, which I do love, but it's not a unique one, it's just the generic one. So that will be my spare copy of that. Crime, Signal for Invasion, C303. This one's a little bit worn, I think we could safely say. Quite the worse for wear, this, but it's a copy all the same. Oh yes, look, the first page is out there. (1945). Don't particularly like to leave that in like that, to be honest, because it's so awful. So I think I'm just going to see if I can razor that bit out. It's just so awful, that particular bit of paper. We've got a 92 or something like this on the inside cover here. There we are. But yeah, certainly a slightly rougher one, but you know, it is what it is. 1945. 303. 304 is Dead Stop, Miles Burton. This one looks a bit better. (1945) again. Little 30p inside. Nice. Now the next one is a double. It's a good double as well. It's Agatha Christie. So a good one to have as a spare, as a potential trading piece. So 5 Little Pigs. This is number 305. (1945). And another copy of it, 5 Little Pigs. Slightly more centered, slightly darker page edges. Same, 1945. A very, very dirty rubber there, which needs to be cleaned a bit first. It doesn't seem to self-clean like some other rubbers would. Just not cricket, is it? There we are. Got some clean rubbing edges again. There we are. So it's a bit of a difficult call But this one here has definitely got the better spine. It's cleaner, but the edges are going to need a rub down. But that's the one I'm going to keep in the collection, and that's going to be a rare Christie Services Edition spare copy. Right, The House with the Blue Door, C307. A few folded back pages here. (1945). Lovely. C308. The Case of the Tea Cozy's Aunt. (1945). Royal Navy War Libraries. Now, tiniest little bit of glue required. Probably overdid it there. Just for that little bit of corner that's come away. That's okay. Rope's End, Rogue's End. C309. Little tear again, 1945. Nothing else to do on that one. Dead on the Track, John Rose. It's got some loss. C314. Service use only, not for resale. (1945). C311. Obviously quite a low grade one. I mean, you know, I'll make a note that my copy's low grade, but it's not like I've got masses of opportunity to get another one, because these, you know, they just don't turn up that often. But if I am in a spot where there's a little run of them, and this one's there in nice condition, it might be one I'll be tempted to improve. Another John Road, 312, also a bit beaten up. Night Exercise. (1945). A few bent over corners. Okay. There we are. Not particularly nice condition, but better than no copy at all. The Broken Vase. Rex Stout, 314. (1945). Collins Crime Club Services Edition. Minor Wear. VG. Looks like a fiver. Yep, that's all right. A Cerise one now. Dark Duet, that's one of his famous ones, isn't it? Peter Cheney, 315. £4 inside that, 1945. Yep, a little bit warm, but it's okay. Sorry you've been troubled, 316. Don't apologise. Okay, 1946. Tiny smidgen of glue, once again, right down the bottom of the spine here. To help that stay in place. Like so. Lovely. Berkeley Grey, Blonde for Danger, C317. Eindhoven Addressing, 1945. Nice, that's a nice copy. Victor Gunn, Ironside Sea Red, 318. £1945. Yeah, a bit of fading on the spine, on the edge there, but it's okay. Requiem for Rogue, same with this one. 319. £1945. Toast to a Corpse. Services only. Is that WD? It's a full spine detachment here going on. It's a 322. There we are, 1945. Okay. A little bit along there. What a little vintage threepence on the front cover there. Which I wanted to get off. There we go, that's okay. A few westerns now. The Stagline Feud. It's a bit worn, isn't it? But according to Al of the Vintage Paperback Revolution website, the westerns are the hardest service editions of all to track down. They're just very, very hard to find. I guess they were just red and red and red. This is number 325, The Stagline Feud, 1945. Quite the worse for wear, unfortunately, but you know. We have the power to reglue it, at least. Lots of turned over corners here. It's a bit of a lost cause, really, unfortunately, this, but okay. We know the number, so we don't need that inside either. Right. Well, we've had to glue many more books than I thought we were going to have to today. But I suppose that's the nature of the beast. These are some of the rarest White Circle books of all, these services editions. So we make the best of what we've got, really. And that very much is making the best of what we've got. Right, another Western, also in pretty beaten up shape. There's lots of writing here on the back. Can't do anything about that, unfortunately, because it's in pen. $19.45 for C329. That's as good as we can get that. Another one here, Gauntlet of Fire, Luke Short. This is 331. Another one that's fallen to bits. Actually left the title page in there. Blimey. I suppose it's all there, it's just in pieces. But we can handle pieces. 1945 again. Okay. Let's glue it in. Dauntless of Fire. Yes, another very, very scarce Western. Simple as that. Just, yeah, just a beaten up old example. Simple as that. But we've saved it as best we can. And yet another Western. This one's a bit better. 332. The Red Steer. That's actually really nice condition, that one. A rarity for a Western. 1945. Oh, it just fell apart in my hand. As I said, it's just the glue that was used back in the day. This is in beautiful condition. It's not like it's been badly treated, because it hasn't. It's just a reflection of what was being used in the printers at that time. That's all that is. A very, very easy fix. Lovely. Right, 3 more in this third pile. Some sort of stamp at the top there, but I can't quite see what it says for number 333. Ah, company office, number A, something February 1946, 401, Com Pioneer Corps. 401 Company, Pioneer Corps. That's brilliant. That's from a regimental library of some sort. 1945. Extremely cool. That's the ones I love, like that, with a bit of history. Siren in the Night. Leslie Ford. A few turned over corners here. This book is actually quite brittle. Need to be careful with this. It's been in the heat of some sort, possibly direct sunlight, but definitely in a hot temperature over the years. It's a nice copy, but it's brittle. 1945 for that one. Number 334, and then the last one on this stack, 336. Going, going, gone. A little bit the worse for wear, this one. There we are, 336. What year is this? 1945. Right, let's give that pile a brush. Quite dirty, don't they? Now this one I did spot actually needs another tiny bit of glue in the top here. Just in there. And in the very bottom there as well. Lovely. Supremely dusty, those particular ones. Another case where there's one worth re-gluing back in. A night exercise. Lovely. Right, last little pile, and this is number 338. So I've stopped and had a bite for lunch. Well, that one's all right. Jungle Harvest. Property of the Central Services Central Book Depot. Look at that, right on top. 339. $19.45. I want to make sure I do the dates on all of these so that I've got a record. Yeah, 1945 again. So that's 339. 340. This is rust. Look at this, just dusty. It's more than just dusty, it's in a right old state. But it does seem to be that the westerns are the hardest ones to find and or to maintain in decent nick, by the looks of it. $19.45. This one's a bit better for number 341. Buckshot. $19.45. And another one, Busted Range. C342. $19.45 again. Crime, Black Castle 343. $19.45. Some sort of writing there. Yep, 1945 again. Does seem to be the era. Another beaten up Western. Service use only. WD. C344. $19.45. Quite the worse for wear, this one. Yeah, not ideal. Lots of page corners turned over, sadly. And when they're a bit rough like this, a bit brittle, you're almost on a bit of a hide into nothing to try and get them looking nice. It's not impossible, it's just extremely time consuming. There we are. Let's That's about as good as we're going to get that. And this next one doesn't look great either. Look at this. Cluny Brown, 345. It's all taped up. Quite the unruly specimen, shall we say. 1945. But since it's the only copy, I can't afford to get rid of it. Because who knows when I'll see another one. But yeah, quite the rarity. It's funny, all of these have been 1945, haven't they? This one, lovely, look. This book is to be handled with care, order to ensure maximum use. Well, someone has definitely done that. It's a beautiful copy. Very nice indeed. 1945 again. For 346. 347. Stephen Strange, Look Your Last. This one's quite rough. Looks like Eric paid $2.50 for this one. Collins Crown Club White Circle number 347 Services Edition, 1945, £2.50. There we are. Bit of a beaten up copy, but Miles Burton, The Three Corpse Trick, 300 C348, 1945. Brittle bits of it coming off in my hands. Not very good. I think we'll just leave that as is because it's just going to make it worse. And you do find that some books, if they've been stored in a very hot temperature, over time they can brittle up. 1945 again though. Carlotta Green, 349. 1945. Little 20p in the top there. Unnatural Murder, 350. (1946), that one. Quite nice condition. This next one we've got 2 copies of. So a double. So Case in the Clinic. Now this is a nice copy, 351. 1946. Yeah, pretty nice that one. And then we've got another copy. That one's got a big circle. It's got a little flyer in. I wonder if that came with it. Same date, but this is, I believe, my original one was a better one. So I'm going to put that one in my spares. I'm going to put this little flyer in because theoretically that came with it. I'll put that in the back, like so. Beautiful copy of this one, Hercule Poirot's Christmas. Look at that. 352. Very, very nice indeed. That's gorgeous. 1946. Beautiful. Third Victim. Three. Going to re-glue that in a moment, I think. 1946. Yeah, we definitely moved on a year, haven't we? Okay, let's get some glue in that bit there. That should be fine. I'm pretty sure yeah, 1946 again. Yeoman's Hospital. This is 363. This is actually out of position. So I need to just put that back there. We'll do that in a minute. Conquest marches on, Berkeley Grey, 354. I want to try and do these in the correct order if possible, because I'll be going back and compiling a list of these as well for my spreadsheet. $246. Bullets for breakfast, 355. You could say that's been through the wars. Stevens Bookmart, Bracknell. Yeah, 1946 again. Glue it back in where it's come away. It's not detached, it's just coming away. Yeah, pretty low grade that one. That's for sure. But Thankfully, it's not going to matter because I actually already had a beautiful copy of it. So that was lucky, wasn't it? So that one can instantly go into my swaps pile. And this one, barely got a bit of fade in, but absolutely fine. Check the date there, 1946. Yeah, that's good. Western, Shotgun Gold, W.C. Tuttle. Okay. Is it 46 again? Yeah, 1946. I think these are all going to be 46 now, right up to the end. The Last Western, Up from Texas, number 358. .46 again. Very nice. Double for Death, 359. Lovely. 360. Is that correct? 363. What's that? Oh, it's still not in the right place. So it's in there. There we are. So 360. Here we are. Oh, it's a Mary Westmacott. So Agatha Christie's pseudonym. Pretty nice copy of that. 1946. That's nice. Hammond Innes. 361. Attack Alarm. It's like a £1.50 in there. Couple of turned over pages. There we are. 1946 again. I Want to Be Happy. 362. .46. Evidently that was the last year that these services ones were done. This is 363. Yeoman's Hospital. There we are, and then the last one, 364, Lost Island. And I'm not sure if that's the very last one in the series. In 1946, but I'm going to double check. 364, Lost Island by James Newman. Yep, that was it. So that was indeed the very last Collins White Circle Surface Edition. Right, let's give those a brush. So final stage. Hope you've been okay to stick with me through this slightly longer than usual video. But I hope you'll agree that it was worth it to see some, well, extremely rare books indeed. Next week, of course, we'll be back to another Penguin video, and the week after that I'll probably be doing some more Collins books, and I will mix it up each week while I've got loads of non-Penguin stuff to get through. I'll try and make it every other week a Penguin video, just so that we are making some progress on those books. But we got all these other goodies as well to get sorted. If you have, of course, enjoyed today's video, do please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already, please hit the subscribe button for regular vintage book cleaning action. And I shall look forward to seeing you again next week with another video. Until then, bye.